Thanks a lot for joining us. We can have a difference of opinion, but I appreciate the fact that you say things as you see it, and it's momentum investing which clearly has worked over the last 2 3 years.
The secret sauce will be when value catches momentum. Right?
And I think Ajay, it's called agreeing to disagree on most things. All right, Ajay Srivastava, thanks a lot for joining us. But one space that has been under pressure for a while is diagnostic stocks. They've corrected sharply over the past few months, with stocks down anywhere between 40 to 50% from their 52-week high, and this is reflected in valuations which have halved from their peaks over the past year. Now, some reasons for this selling is the fear of disruptive pricing. For example, Tata 1mg has published an ad in the papers indicating that they are offering popular lab tests at just 100 rupees versus the 500 to 650 rupees earlier. It's great for consumers, but so much competition in the sector is making shareholders a bit nervous. Additionally, we're also seeing rapidly rising competition. Several pharma companies have entered the space, while hospital chains have increased investments. To discuss this, we're joined by Gaurav Agarwal, the co-founder of Tata 1mg, and Devendra Rajput, the national head and director at Apollo Diagnostics, two big players in this market. Thanks a lot for joining us. Gaurav, I want to start with you first. This disruptive pricing in diagnostics has sort of rattled the market. Do you expect a full-blown price war and further price cuts, perhaps?
Look, we all know that the diagnostics industry has enjoyed a lot of very high margins built on the back of trust. At Tata 1mg, our goal is to always, deliver services at a very high quality, but at a price that is really affordable, making diagnostic services accessible. Over the years, we have been continuously in the process of driving prices down. So I think we are going to continue to see price pressure in this industry, and Tata 1mg is going to lead the front on delivering really high quality services at the right price for the consumer.
Good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. I have actually a follow-up, Gaurav, because I have personally used Tata 1mg of a lot of late. Do you have your own labs, or are you sort of aggregators, and or is it a mix of both? And if you're like an aggregator model, in that case, do you go through quality checks of the labs? Because obviously there will be labs which will be offering tests at lower price, but then you don't know if those tests are reliable or not. A doctor, for example, a lot of time would say that, look, I don't trust the test of this lab. So if you could explain that to me right now.
Absolutely, great question. Tata 1mg today offers both marketplace laboratories and also our own labs. We run our own diagnostic labs. We have 9 of them today. We are rapidly expanding. Our reference lab, which was recently opened, is one of the best state-of-the-art diagnostic laboratory in the country. When it comes to marketplace diagnostics, we don't offer unknown labs on our platform. We offer really high quality labs like Dr. Lal Path labs, etc. And we strongly believe that consumers should have a choice, and they should pick based on pricing and service quality, etc. On our platform, what we have seen is that most of the consumers actually prefer, because of pricing and service quality, picking up the Tata 1mg labs. So coming back to your question, we offer a hybrid model, our labs and marketplace. And on marketplace, we only have the highest quality labs with very stringent quality checks. And even otherwise, these are big brands like ThyroCare, Path labs, etc. which are offered on our platform. We don't offer no-name, non-certified labs on our platform.
Right. So when I order a blood test from Tata 1mg, the test may be run at Dr. Lal Path Labs lab or a Metropolis. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So the way it works is, the way the experience works is that when you come to Tata 1mg lab, and let's say if you pick CBC as a test to do, then the platform offers you a choice. You can either pick a Tata 1mg lab, or you can pick a Lal Path lab. If you pick, let's say, a Lal Path lab, then we run the supply chain all the way to the diagnostics lab. If you pick a Tata 1mg lab, then we run the supply chain all the way to the test being done and the report being delivered, right? So the consumer makes an active choice. It's not that you pick something and then the test gets done at Lal Path lab. For consumers who pick Tata 1mg labs, all the tests are done with our in-house labs.
Okay, got that. I'm looking at that advertisement from you, which got a lot of interest, I'm sure you noticed. So for example, the thyroid profile, you say your cost is 100 rupees compared to market price of 600, which you said. a lipid
Yeah.
profile, 100 rupees, I mean, flat 100 rupees, diabetes screening 100 rupees. Could you tell me if you make money at 100 rupees on these tests?
Yeah, we do. We do. So actually, that's the really interesting part, that the cost of these tests is actually much lower because of the volumes, etc., that we have. We are not losing money on these tests at these prices. That said, though, how sustainable these prices are depends a lot on how this campaign, etc., will perform. So far, we're getting outstanding, customer love from this campaign. And we are going to continue to test these prices and see how it works.
How much would be the margin, Gaurav? How much would be the margin? 100 rupees. I mean, without going into exacts, but roughly. I mean, how much would you make?
No, look, so yeah, that's a little complicated question to answer because there's a part of the test which is just let's say the chemicals required to run the test, and then there's a whole operational cost of running the test. We know from public company balance sheets, for instance, that the diagnostic industry operates at a 25-30% EBITDA. So there are significant margins in the supply chain, and that's what Tata 1mg is doing, is actually bringing more price transparency, better affordable prices back to consumers.
No, but Gaurav, they are making 25-30% on 600 rupee tests. You're offering the test yeah.
Correct. So again, look, a lot of our investments have happened in supply chain. A lot of it has happened because we run a very tight, at-scale, in-city supply chain, which helps us bring, much better quality prices to these tests, right? So on a test level, if I was to talk about and do a like-to-like comparison, these tests are in the positive territory for us. Of course, there are additional costs, like the cost of running this campaign, etc., where we won't be making money. But just on a test basis, we are positive today on these tests.
Okay, so you're positive on these tests. We have Devendra Rajput, the National Head and Director at Apollo Diagnostics, who's been waiting by patiently. Devendra, thanks for joining us. I wanted your thoughts on, how does one really ensure quality when the price cuts are so severe? And how much do you think gross margins would be compromised given the pricing pressure?
Namaste to everyone. So as you rightly said, gross margins will be compromised due to the pricing pressure. So to maintain a quality, we need to maintain the NABL as well as CAP accreditation. So the stringent quality as well as the quality measures what we take, it will be in long run will be difficult to sustain at a lower level. And we primarily see this as a short-term tool which will be adopted by the digital disruptors, and this will not stand the test of the time to come, as the margin pressures as well as the sustainable quality has to be offered to the patient. In the end, the diagnostic test is performed by the patient for the diagnosis of the disease. And if he doesn't get a quality result or quality service, the patient is unlikely to come back to the same diagnostic player. So therefore, quality will be definitely a focus, and NABL and CAP accredited lab will be doing their best to sustain this quality.
No, that point is taken, Devendra, but good morning. At the end of the day, like for example, Tata 1mg has the Tata brand with it, so people would have trust there. The experience over the last 7 or 8 years has been that, especially from the hospital chains, that the diagnostic costs have gone up in excess of what the cost would have gone up, right? I mean, the normal tests. I remember, 7 or 8 years back getting blood tests done, and now it's, almost a 7 or 8 times move. Of course, some part of that is inflation, some part of that is cost, but the margins did go up a lot. Do you think we'll now return to some kind of rationality?
So, as you rightly said, with the competition as well as the pricing pressure, so there will be a definite price correction in a top 50 or 30 tests, where the utilization is more. There we'll be able to pass on the additional margins to the consumer. Definitely it will be a competitive space going forward.
Devendra, one question on investments, because of so much competition coming through and pricing pressure, do you think fresh investments will need to be made, especially by the newer players that come into the market? And what about your own company as well?
Yeah. So to sustain any business, you need a good network and backed by a good trained manpower. Therefore, you need to invest on the infrastructure. Like currently, Apollo Diagnostics runs 200 labs across India, and we have almost 1,000 plus our own phlebotomy force, backed by a logistic force. So therefore, it is required to invest continuously in OPEX as well as CAPEX going forward.
Okay. Now, Gaurav, I have a different question, right? Look, at the end of the day, this country is about jugaad, right? And, once you find out, for example, Gaurav, this question is for you. Especially for the aggregator business model, companies like, I think, PharmEasy, I think also tell you when you place medicines, for example, the order, and, there's 30%, 40% discount, that which pharmacy is going to deliver you that. Do you envisage a scenario where people will start to reach out directly to these pharmacies or these labs as well, without getting into Tata MG involved, and perhaps try to squeeze out that last bit as well?
No, look, again, if that was to happen, then I think the existing diagnostic providers would have offered much better prices than we are able to offer, right? And I think that at the end of the day, what the consumer wants is a trustworthy brand that they can go with, who can solve their problems, who can take care of their concerns, etc. So, and I just wanted to go back and take a crack at the quality thing also. We are part of, Tata brand stands for trust. Tata 1mg has done, followed the highest quality standards throughout its life cycle. And that's true for diagnostics business as well. Our diagnostic business follows the highest quality standards that are globally available. And when it comes to consumers, we see a very, very high repeat rate. In fact, better than the diagnostics industry, of customers who book a test with us and then come back and do repeat tests on our platform. Our service quality for NPS is 75 plus, which is unheard of in the healthcare area. And just going back, the reason we are able to do that is because we are fundamentally innovating in a space that has not seen innovation for many, many years. And this is what brings the customer back to 1mg.
Gaurav,
The fact that he doesn't need to go to a collection center, the fact that we deliver at-home sample collection on time, 99.5% of the time.
Gaurav,
right? So that's
no, got it. So assume that this 100 rupee is a promotional offer. It is not 100, but it slowly is higher. It goes up a little bit. But compared to where everyone else is, where do you see prices settling for these? For the top 50 tests which are conducted, most conducted tests, will they be 25% lower, 30% lower? Where will they settle at, in your opinion? Briefly.
Yeah, we think today we can offer 30-40% cheaper prices than what exists in the market.
Okay.
And as we continue to innovate, we think we can drive the prices down further.
Okay, and the same question to Devendra as well. 30-40% lower, Devendra. Would you agree with that?
So I will answer to this a little differently. After pandemic, the awareness levels among people have gone up. So people are going for more battery of tests, and they are looking for the health check or the preventive packages. So I think the uptake of preventive packages will go up. Okay. And definitely there the price points are relatively competitive. So we are focusing more on wellness as well as preventive health care.
Got it, gentlemen.
And through the of Apollo Health, I think we will be able to deliver much better results for the patient.
Got it, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for joining us. Like in any industry, a new player will disrupt the market. By the way, just look at LIC's listing. In pre-open, it settled at about 8% discount compared to the issue price of 949. It settled at 872 per share. Now, that is slightly disappointing because that would mean even for retail shareholder, there would be a bit of a loss, and for policy shareholder as well.
Even for policy shareholder
as well,
it's at a discount.
Yeah, it's a bit of a discount. So that's why it's a bit disappointing. But this is pre-open. We'll wait to see how the actual opening turns out. We'll take a break. We'll connect with Keshav Bhajanka of Century Plyboards to discuss their Q4 numbers, and of course, we'll connect with